Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival, where we're coming to you live from Sedona Rouge Hotel. I'm Carol Kahn, and I have the privilege and honor to be sitting here with Michael Feinstein. So it's so nice to have you here. Welcome to Sedona.
Thank you, Carol. I'm glad to be with you.
And obviously it's not your first time here.
No, it's not. I came here probably about 25 years ago on a birthday and spent some wonderful time hiking and just experiencing a part of the country I had never experienced before. And it was amazing because I grew up in Ohio, and I've lived a long time in California and now part-time in Indiana. But being here was really life-changing, just to see the lifestyle that people can have if they choose.
Exactly.
A great one.
And you know what's amazing? I was doing some research on your life and career, and one of the things that came up was when you were young. I guess you were 5, and you started playing piano. Your teacher, your piano teacher, said to you that she didn't want to teach you because you weren't reading the music.
That's true. I started playing piano by ear. I sat down literally and just started playing with both hands. I played Do, Re, Mi from The Sound of Music, just played it. And my mother said, "Who taught you that? Someone had to teach you." And I somehow knew how to play the piano. It's like I just understood it and I could play right out of the box. So they took me to a teacher, a great teacher at Capital University, a fine university in Columbus, Ohio. And the teacher would play the exercises for me before she would have me play them. She put the music there. So I started listening to her play them, and I wasn't reading the music. So after about 2 months, she put the music up, and she didn't play it first. And she said, "Play this." And I said, "I can't." She said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Because I can't read music." And she said, "Well, you've been reading." And I said, "No, I haven't." So my mother was waiting in the hall, and she went out into the hall, and she said, "Mrs. Feinstein, did you know your son was playing by ear?" As if it was the most dirty thing. And my mom said, "Well, yes, I knew. Didn't you?" She said, "No." And that was the end of my lessons. And the rest was coasting along on my own, left to my own devices, I guess.
Well, you're like a child prodigy, really. I mean, at
that time I was. Now I'm a little old for it.
Oh, now you're not.
But I could lie about my age, I guess.
We all do. It's okay.
Not with the internet. You can't.
That's true. Well, one of the things that I'm so impressed about, too, is your background. And I also feel like you are a guardian of songs. Because you're the keeper of songs and you're not letting go the history of some of these. So let's talk a little bit about that.
From the time I was very young, I was obsessed with what we now call the Great American Songbook, or some people call it the Rod Stewart Songbook. That was supposed to be funny, but
I laughed.
I'll stick to the music. But I was interested in these songs by the Gershwins, Cole Porter, Irving Berlin, Johnny Mercer, Harold Arlen. You can go down the list. And I started playing and singing those songs when I was a kid, and it turned into a career for me. I played piano bars for years, and then I played nightclubs, and then I played Broadway and started doing concerts. And it's always been centered around this music. And this Great American Songbook is evolving. I think that there are songs from the 70s, Billy Joel, Carole King, that are still part of the songbook, and I think that it continues to grow in its attitude. But the nucleus of it is this music of the 20th century, and so much of it is related to film. So many of these writers from Broadway came to Hollywood and started writing these great movie scores for all the great performers. And it's become my mission to keep them alive, and I do that by singing, and I've conducted orchestras for the last 5 years, restoring old arrangements. I've literally found them in dumpsters when they're at the moment they're going to be thrown away. So it's sort of like a counterpart to the American Film Institute, or the Preservations to Save Film, where there's the last copy of something before it's destroyed. It's all part of a preservation of our American culture, which disappears unless somebody saves it.
So do you find that that's a passion for you in doing that? It's
my greatest passion. Mm-hmm. It's the thing that I obsess about. Am I going to find this or that? I literally spend all my waking hours thinking about discovering and saving music, which is probably a little twisted, but at least it's a living.
Well, you know, there's such a huge repertoire of music out there that you are saving, and you play most of it, a lot of it. And to me, you know, in watching you, sometimes I wonder, like, how do you remember? Like, how do you remember every note? How do you remember every song, every verse? How do you remember everything that you perform?
Well, I do most of the time, but sometimes I don't. But the music, once I learn something, I pretty much know it. So I'm very lucky in that I can retain music and lyrics pretty easily. I've been doing a whole bunch of shows this week. This is my, tonight is my third of 4 shows this week in 4 different cities. And they're all different shows. And so I love the challenge of that, and I love being able to create different programs, as this program tonight is centered around film and the connection of classic music to movies. And it's just there. I'm very lucky. I don't always remember names. I don't remember what I've had for breakfast, but song lyrics I'll remember.
My name is Carol.
I know that. What is my name?
Today, I don't know, no.
And I remember phone numbers.
336, no. I do want to open it up to questions to the media, yes.
I actually have 2 questions for you.
Okay.
They're easy.
Okay.
The first one, out of all of the songs that you have composed and written, what is your favorite? And the second question is out of all of the other songwriters that you've worked with, who is your favorite to work with?
Of the songs I've written, and I haven't had that many songs that have come to the public because I'm mainly a performer of classic music, but I wrote a song a number of years ago called For Love Alone that I wrote with a great lyricist named Marshall Barer, who wrote the show Once Upon a Mattress and was a guy who collaborated with Hoagie Carmichael and Duke Ellington. And that song is my favorite. I recorded it on an album 20-some years ago. But For Love Alone, for those of you who wish to find that. And as far as collaborations, I've been lucky to work with many great writers. I met Ira Gershwin and worked with Ira Gershwin for 6 years, and Harry Warren, who won 3 Oscars, and Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim, Julie Stein, Jerry Herman, all these classic names. So to pick one is difficult. I guess I would have to say working with Ira Gershwin, because he made it possible for me to have the career that I have. And his next-door neighbor was Rosemary Clooney, so that's how I became friends with Rosemary Clooney. And then George, her nephew, who moved in and was living in the maid's room and was a ne'er-do-well. And so I owe really everything to Ira.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Yes.
That was a wonderful segue. You were very close with crooner and actress Rosemary Clooney. What was some great life lesson that she taught you, either about life or about music in general?
Rosemary Clooney was the first female singer to be pictured on the cover of Time magazine. She was so famous in her time. And she had a long career, but it was interrupted by a nervous breakdown, a very sad time, and nobody thought she would ever come back to work again. And so I learned from her a certain kind of humility, and she certainly taught me a lot about interpreting songs when I got to sing with her. But she taught me most of all that your family and your life connections are more important than your career. Career is business. And I was a little bit full of myself when I first started to have success. And I realized that this was a woman who was one of the biggest stars in show business, disappeared, and had to crawl back playing Holiday Inns and little places, and came back, and she learned that show business is wonderful, but it's family and relationships that are the most important.
That's amazing. Yes.
So, you say you've conducted orchestras and you are finding these wonderful scores. Have you since learned to read music?
I read music, but not as well as I should. I think people would be shocked at the lack of musical knowledge my lack of musical knowledge. But conducting is more instinctive, even though you have to have quite a number of skills. But the most important part of it is being able to communicate the essence of a piece to the players. And it was the most scary thing when I had first done it, because I knew that all those musicians knew a lot more than I did. But it's the most wonderful collaboration. And to be able to find, for example, a piece of music like Erich Wolfgang Korngold, who was one of the great composers at Warner Brothers in the 40s, a piece of music that had never been played publicly before, and to play it 70 years later and to do the world premiere of something with this orchestra, there is no better feeling. And to know that that is something that is now brought to the world again. It's great.
Yes, Ron?
Tell us, hi Michael.
Hi.
Tell us what piano you like to play on best and why. Why do you like that piano best? Tell us the nuance.
Well, I'm a Steinway artist, and Steinway certainly has made the greatest pianos through the ages. Even though there was a period when CBS had purchased Steinway in the 70s, and the quality control went way down, and the serial numbers of those pianos are notorious. So you don't ever want to play those pianos. But Steinway still is the leading creator of great pianos, and I have been lucky to be associated with them for a number of years.
Well, Michael, I know it's not uncommon for you to break out into song. So
No, it's not. No. I don't. That's my opera. It's my Bert Lahr impression. So.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you just to sing me a little tune, or sing us a little tune.
Oh gosh. Hooray for Hollywood, that screwy ballyhooey Hollywood, where any office boy or young mechanic can be a panic with just a good-looking pan, and any barmaid can be a star maid if she dances with or without a fan. That's enough of that. Go out and try your luck. You might be Donald Duck. Hooray for Hollywood.
Thank you so much. And you have a show this evening.
Yes.
Yes, here in Sedona. So Sedona welcomes you back. It's such a privilege having you here with us today and tonight. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, everybody.